We're going to keep things moving here on Radio Boss. We're joined by a gentleman, as a matter of fact. I mean, he's all over the place. Not only is he a five-time Grammy Award winner, not only is he the keyboardist in Maroon 5, he's also a Morehouse graduate. And as a matter of fact, the new song, Please Be Good to Me, is available now, part of an upcoming album. He's the one and only PJ Morton. He joins us here on Radio Boss. PJ, welcome back to the program.
Yes, sir. Good to be back. Good to be back. I like that Morehouse shout out,
Yeah,
for
man.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people don't know that, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Please
Yeah.
be good to me. Really, really, like your whole style is incredible. It's different from anybody else. It's not just one genre. You work in all genres of music. Speak to the inspiration behind this.
Yeah. I mean, I like the good, the good and bad genre of music. I just try to do the good music. But this was a part of a trip that I took to Africa. 30 days. I went to Africa for a month and decided to work on an album within those 30 days of being on the continent. So please be good. I was in Lagos, Nigeria, and I met up with this producer Pete Prime, who's a young, amazing producer, done stuff for Kid and Burna Boy, and man, he played me this track, and I was like, because I was writing in 30 days, I didn't have time to go through everything. It's like, this feels good right now. Let's do it right now. So I started writing immediately. So even instinctively, I'm like, I listen to the song now and I can hear what my subconscious was saying, but I was just writing, I thought I was just writing a good song, but when I listened to it, I went to Africa in search for inspiration, and I have been rolling. I have been moving for a long time. And that first, even that first verse is like, yeah, I've been on the go working so hard. I think I need a break. And I think I was just asking Africa. I promised these people I'm gonna make this album in 30 days. Just please be good to me. I don't have to be in control. I ain't got to be in control. Just like, and sometimes we need that to just let the inspiration lead. And but I didn't know that in the moment when I was writing it. I was just writing.
Yeah.
And this process was really different from me, but I loved it, man, all the same.
No doubt. And my understanding is you also collaborated with a lot of artists that are from the continent of Africa in the various countries. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, well, we and we're gonna be announcing the album and the the song list and everything. But what I wanted to do was be real intentional about, yes, I'm going there to make an album, but I want to make sure I collaborate with artists there, collaborate with producers there. Not only that, go see the nightlife, see this music that's taken over the world in its true form, and watching people respond to it. I wanted to eat the food that you know what I'm saying. I fully engulf myself into the culture. And we went to 4 countries. I mean, I did South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, and Egypt. So we went all over. The name of the album is Cape Town to Cairo. So we went from South Africa to North Africa, and really just collaborated and was inspired by what the things that were happening, the people we were meeting.
You can call him a soul singer. I'm going to call him musician extraordinaire. He is PJ Morton. He joins us here on Radio Boss. You're coming off also, and I had a chance to see the wrap up, which is on YouTube. By the way, I invite all of our watchers and listeners to check that out, of the Please Be Good tour. You had a nice wrap up. Speak to that experience, Asia, Australia, etc.
Yeah, man. I always prayed to be an international musician. It was always important to me to play all around the world. And I just looked up this last tour and said, man, my dreams, I didn't realize, but my dreams have really come to fruition, man. We started off in Manila, Philippines, and went through to Tokyo and China for the first time. I performed, and and Korea, of course, which has shown us so much love. Seoul, Korea is one of the most soulful places in the world. You know what I'm saying? They got it. They got it honest. Um, and then we went over to New Zealand. I played New Zealand for the first time. Of course, I've been there with Maroon Five, but I mean, first time with my music. And Australia, we've been building for years. So to just see that this big Byron Bay festival that we did, man, it's just amazing to be placed, especially when you're in places like China, or Japan, where English isn't really, the number one language, and to see them responding to these songs, singing every lyric, um, man, it's so rewarding. I mean, it's so rewarding to know that these songs that I just believed in, at some point in my life, are still sticking around, and not only sticking around, but everywhere in the world, every corner. So it's been an amazing experience.
Man, and you talk about experiences like you're really big. Maroon 5 is really big. I mean, it's a really big deal. And as a matter of fact, you joined as the keyboardist when you were what, 29? You weren't even 30 years old.
I wasn't 30 yet. Yeah, 2010.
How
Yeah.
did it come about? How did that come about?
Yeah, music director friend of mine, Adam Blackstone, called me. He had just come in as the music director for that tour that they were about to go on, and they were looking for a keyboard player that could play and sing. And he was like, "Well, I know exactly the person." He called me. I was in the middle of a tour myself, for myself, and I was burnt out though, and I was like, you know what? I think this sounds like a good opportunity. It's not just a gig. I would be a part of a band. I was like, okay, not let's just see. Canceled the last 3 dates of my tour, postponed them. Went to LA and auditioned for Maroon Five, my first audition in my life. Usually people just were aware, but it was like a different world. Adam knew, Blackstone knew, but they didn't know. So they wanted to meet me and see me. And, it was the first audition for them. Many people don't know, but Maroon has been a band since eighth grade, so like they grew up together. And so I think it was awkward for both of us, but it was just cool enough where we could tell that we vibed with each other. I played Sunday morning, and the rest is history, man. 14 years in July. Been rolling with these guys, man. It's been an amazing ride too. Like, knocked so many things off of my bucket list being a part of the band, and I'm grateful.
No, that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Generally when you've won 5 Grammy Awards as an independent artist, and a lot of times, and we can relate here with you in this sense on this program. A lot of times
Hmm.
when you're an independent artist is out of frustration because of quote unquote mainstream. Like they couldn't place you
Yeah.
they couldn't figure you out. You had your own sound. So
Hmm.
can you speak to the drive and what it really takes when you have to do this thing on your own and you've had success in doing
Yeah, man, it is not for the weak. I mean, it is hard work. The first thing you ask me is how do I do it? It's putting your head down and just doing it. For me, it was out of necessity. Independence is so, it's kind of like glamorized now. It's like a cool thing now. Own your masters, and it wasn't for me. I wasn't trying to own anything. I just didn't have anybody else that would do it. I went to every single major label, and they just didn't get it. They didn't feel like I made sense in those systems. And so I said, well, how I've got to do it. So like, how else am I gonna do it? And I started studying a lot of the rock bands, Dave Matthews Band, these guys, because in black music it was hard to be independent. Rap started doing it first, but like and like in the Bay Area and stuff like that, and then in the South. But like black R&B music didn't really have those avenues to do it, but the rock bands could do it because they had the colleges, and so I just started to study, man. It was out of necessity, and at one point I stuck around long enough for the independent infrastructure to catch up to the stuff I was doing. And so now where we are with the empires and stuff, I partnered with Empire years ago, 6 years ago. And so streaming even the playing field, because then, when you can't order a million records because you don't have $1 million, so you can't compete with a major and you can't ship a million. So you can't go platinum because you can't even, people don't know you got to buy those records. So like streaming even the playing field, social media even the playing field, and I start seeing, me being able to catch up. In that first year, I was nominated for a Grammy as an independent solo artist. It was like, this is different, like that first Gumbo album. I'm like, this is different. The tides are changing. And like I said, I kind of get that old saying, keep on living, because I just kept going and kept trying, staying relevant, kept doing fresh things, kept updating my ideas, kept doing these things, because that's what you have to do. You got to keep, my wife knows how many times I wanted to give up. You know what I'm saying? How many times I just wanted to quit. But there's something in me that wouldn't ever allow it. And I would just get back up and say, all right, well, let's just stay here. We got the people, because live was a big part of that for me. I had the people. And man, it's worked out. I somehow got into this other conversation and been able to compete with the majors and really just be in the same conversation. I don't think it's the same separation that it was. But 5 Grammys, I mean, that's beyond my wildest,
Yeah, no doubt about it. The one and only PJ Morton joins us here on the program. Speaking about being busy, like I guess you don't necessarily have a tour yourself that's upcoming, but you have live shows that coincide with a Maroon 5 tour, right? Like, man, you just continuing to stay busy. Talk about that, because you've got your own thing going on, but you're part of Maroon 5 also.
Yeah, and that's they've always been super gracious. I mean, I've been able, when we were really on the same album cycle, they allowed me on my Young Money album, I opened up for Maroon 5, Kelly Clarkson, and then I closed with Maroon 5. So I did double duty, and we did that in Europe, where I opened as PJ, Robin Thicke was in between, and then closed as Maroon 5. So they didn't have to do that, So like they showed me much love. But I got creative, I started seeing the gaps in our schedule, which just meant that I didn't have any rest. Sometimes when they would stop, I would have to keep going. And of course, once my career started to speed up even more, there's some challenges sometimes just with the schedules. But we make it work, man. We're about to announce some dates here pretty soon for a tour, and they're zigzagging. We got our residency in Vegas as well, Maroon 5 or at Park MGM. So we're rolling, but at least it's music. That's how I keep going. I say, well, at least it's music, know.
I like I told you before, the Bishop opened the floodgates of heavens, like one of my favorite songs. You did your first gospel album, was that been maybe 4 years ago?
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, right in the pandemic.
Yeah, won a Grammy for best gospel album. Speak to that. What was it because you had worked in all genres of music? Was it time? Was it time to now do a gospel album?
I think it was time. I had started with the idea right before the pandemic, and then that shut down the whole idea, but then I started to rethink it. But yeah, I think it was time. People ask me my whole life, when are you doing a gospel album? And I'm like, and I did it my way also. It's not like it was my record and I was singing all of these songs, but it was my gospel songbook, and I got to get the best of the best. I mean, Kirk Franklin, Yolanda Adams, Commission, Fred Hammond with them. The Clark sisters. Everybody, Tasha Cobbs. Everybody was a part of this, and I got to express my gospel the way I wanted to express it. But yeah, I think it was time. And I had never stopped working in gospel music. That was kind of my point. That I had kept writing these songs over and over. Let Go, Let God. You know what I'm saying? I Just Gotta Have You for Jonathan McReynolds. Like I had never really left. It was just the capacity. I wasn't a gospel artist, but I had never left. And so I wanted to connect all those songs and show people, this came from my songbook, and hear all these amazing artists do them in different ways. J Moss, it was fun to do. And because it was the pandemic, I got everybody sitting at home. So like once we figured out how to record from home, I got, we were doing these remote sessions, and and we got it together and won Gospel Grammy. I mean, it's kind of crazy after winning Best R&B Song the year before and then winning Best Gospel Album. Kind of talks to this book I'm coming out Saturday night, Sunday morning. It's like that's literally my life, you know.
Yeah, let's talk about. That was my next question. The
Oh
book.
wow.
What can we expect? And it's coming out in November, I believe.
November 12th. Yeah, pre-orders have started, but it's called Saturday Night, Sunday Morning, and that is kind of like the dichotomy of my life. I was always playing in some club on Saturday night, and then I was playing at church on Sunday morning. But I think the way my career is going, I mean, in the Saturday night, I was signing Young Money. You know, I'm in Maroon 5. I do soul and R&B music, but you know, like I said, never stop writing gospel music. A preacher's kid. Faith is still very much a part of what I do. So I think it's really just breaking that down. And my first independent record, Emotions, solo independent record, turns 20 in October. And so I thought, 5 Grammys, 20 years, maybe it's a good time to kind of like tell my story in a detailed way because I don't really do that much. I kind of just mind my business and just like do the music and we just stick to it. But I don't talk much about my life. So I thought this was a good time and it's inspiring to me, myself. Like when I look at my life, I'm like, wow, this really did work. Like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like me saying no to this and like no to that and sticking to man, that actually worked. I know they said it could, but it actually worked. Me and my friends, we'd be like, yo, this worked. And so I think, man, I wish I had a me that could tell me that it could work because most of the time I got people saying, man, you should just go ahead and just, you know what I'm saying? Get you one, like just get you one or just, and I just knew, I'm like, long term, I don't know if I'm gonna love that. And so I thought it was a good time to tell that story and hopefully people can be inspired by it the way I am, myself.
Couple of more moments with PJ Morton. We appreciate the time, PJ. Of course, Please Be Good to Me. The song is available now. Morehouse, got to talk about the Morehouse days. I'm a Morgan man. You understand what I'm saying? But HBCU, it's all good.
Nah, we unite. Yeah, for sure.
So what do you remember about those days?
Oh man, well those days are super fresh in my mind because I got a freshman at Morehouse. My oldest son Jakai is a freshman at Morehouse.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And man, I got to go and tour the campus with him again. I got to move him into his dorm and show him where my dorm was. I mean, it's super fresh right now. I hadn't been on campus in a long time, but like just because this just happened, that mystique is real. That HBCU thing is real. I felt it all over again. Like man, just being around like-minded people who want to grow and people who can identify with you, teachers who care about you. I mean, I can't recommend HBCUs enough, man. It helped to shape me. Of course, Atlanta was just super instrumental in my music career too. So like just being around there, I look at Henny the Business and like we were making beats in our dorm rooms and like, he went on to produce for Drake and I'm here and, like it's just a beautiful thing finding those, even at a liberal arts college. We weren't a music college, but I found my guy, and that's what happens on those HBCU campuses. And to see my son Jakai there right now flourishing and like going through the same things I did and man, it's a beautiful thing.
No doubt. Were you there? Because Isaac Keys was before you, John David Washington after you, but were you there with them together? You could have been.
Yeah, John David came, I think either my junior year or senior year. Yeah, because they were trying to link us up. Anytime somebody's son or something.
Oh, right,
but,
true.
Yeah, and Denzel was around, so I was there. It might have been my senior year when he came because he was playing ball. He was playing football. So I remember one of those homecomings because Denzel started coming around, so you could feel that. But yeah, so we were there at the same time. Yep.
Yeah. Very cool. So now you're doing music for Disney's Tiana Bayou Adventure. Talk about that. And it's a history making thing for you.
Man, it's a big deal. I mean, if you've been to Disney World or Disneyland and you know about the ride that they just closed, just slipped my mind. But they're replacing it with Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So we know that it's going to be there at least 30 years or so, And first black composer to have a song on a Disney property. First black character to have an attraction, So I mean, this is a big deal all around, and the fact that it's like a New Orleans Bayou theme makes it even more special for my legacy because I got to pull in family from New Orleans and like all my friends and have them be a part of this. So New Orleans really is well represented on this ride, and it's premiering this summer, and then Disneyland will follow. But man, I mean, like I say, beyond my wildest, because I couldn't have even cooked this. I couldn't have cooked this up. It's just like so amazing. And what's crazy is I've always wanted to work with Disney my whole life. Beauty and the Beast, these big songs. I used to want to write these big ballads. Once I realized they didn't want to see them from black people, I'm like, all right, well, I just hold these in the tuck. But I used to want to write those big Beauty and the Beast songs. Those big Little Mermaid songs. That's I used to Diane Warren and these songwriters. I looked up to them as a kid, and so full circle. I didn't write for a movie yet, but something that is beyond that came to me. Something that is even a smaller list of people who could say they wrote songs for an attraction, on Disney. So I'm over the moon about it, man. Yeah.
I can't let you get away without talking about either the Saints or the Pelicans or,
Talk about it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I know that
New
that
Orleans
was a
all
tough.
day. I mean, it's hurt. We're a little sad right now with
Yeah,
Donald because he was
yeah,
balling out too. I mean, the boy
yeah.
had 40. We still had time. We had time. We had tied it up. It's just not fun for the story, man. It's just like, come on, at least give us a real shot. Let's be able, let's have a real look at it. So that's sad. My Saints, man, we're rebuilding right now. We trying to figure it out. We trying to see, what the right fits are. I think we went through that. We still been dealing with that since Drew Brees left, and then Sean Payton. So yeah, but I believe, the thing about us, the Saints, it's like I lost my whole life. So it's like it's nothing. The winning is the rare part. The winning is the rare. So we gonna ride. We've been riding this long. You know what I'm saying? I didn't win. We didn't go to the Super Bowl till I was a complete adult. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's nothing. It's nothing. We gonna ride like we are the number one team every year. Who that all day long? It don't matter to me. I'm going.
Yeah, because the NFC South was really for the taking last year. This
It
year,
was.
not so much. The Buccaneers are the champs. You got to figure Atlanta's going to be better. Carolina's going to
Mhm.
be somewhat better. It's maybe
Yeah.
another tough season for the Saints this year.
Could be, man. Something about that losing every year and getting hope every year is you got short-term memory, man. I don't know. I think we're gonna be incredible, like I always do. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna whoever it is, especially the divisional games, because we just don't like each other. So it don't matter how good you are. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna play each other differently. You know what I'm saying? Like you could have, and our Super Bowl is beating the Falcons every year. So as long as we do that, we we good. We got bragging rights, and I can relax.
Man,
Yes,
well,
sir.
look, the book is Sunday night, Sunday mornings, available for pre-order now. Will be out on November
November
the
12th.
12th. That's
That's right.
right. Please Be Good to Me is the song available now.
Hmm.
Check it out. 5-time Grammy Award winner, keyboardist in Maroon 5, all around busy man, musician extraordinaire, PJ Morton, joining us here on Radio Boss. PJ, really appreciate the time, man. Continued success in all you do.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. It was good to be back with you, man. I'm sure we'll talk soon.